Started.
We got DJ Kuwsh. We sitting here with Duane Mallard. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming through, man. Such short notice. Now, first thing I want to get into, you know what I mean, for the people that don't know, we're just going to start off with, what kind of student were you in high school?
High school was more like, sports, girls, and then got into, trouble, drugs, you know what I mean? I ended up getting locked up in school, high school, you know what I mean?
Yeah, how old were you when you got locked up?
17, with the placement, trash myself.
So how old were you when you got into the clothing? Now, matter of fact, how did that come along? How did you get into it?
Clothing came along pretty much like I started doing little, I ended up, doing a couple years off and on in jail. I came home and wanted to give back, wanted to change my image, change my picture. So what I did, I started throwing little events, little Easter egg hunts for the kids in the community, Christmas events, feeding unfortunate families, but I needed a logo, something that basically represent me, you know what I mean, for the stuff that I was doing. So I went to my tattoo artist and he kind of was like, what you want? I gave him a couple different ideas. My last name Mallard being a duck, he came up with this duck. I liked it. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll ride with that. Then, at the time, I was working with somebody and they kind of had they, clothing line up and going, so it was kind of like, I could feel this duck on clothes, you know what I mean? What you think about that? You think people will grab onto it, people will fool with it. And that's basically what I did, and I just ran with it from there.
Mm-hmm. So how long you think you've been doing that?
About like 2 years.
Is that it?
Yeah, about 2 years. And I mean, more like a serious 1 year. You know what I'm saying? I really wasn't serious when I first did it. I was just, playing around with it, putting it on this, putting it on a t-shirt. Not really real serious. It wasn't until kind of around March last year where I really did like an official fashion show and got serious with it.
Alright, so like I was surprised that you said 2 years. Like honestly, from outside looking in, you got one of the biggest clothing lines in the city. So what do you think separates you from everybody else? What do you think helped you to get so much success and so fast?
First of all, to make clothes or be a designer or to be in fashion, period, you gotta have to have swag. You gotta have to be able to dress. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like a lot of people with these clothing lines, around here, they only really got swag. You know what I'm saying? And they don't, they're not known for dressing. You know what I mean? You can't just pop up out the blue and say, I'm selling clothes when you put this stuff on, you're not really looking appealing to people. You know what I'm saying? So me, I always really dressed. I always really, had swag per se, so it's like for me coming out with a clothing line and me, wearing my stuff all the time, switching it up, putting leather in it, matching my sneakers, you know what I'm saying? Certain different things, it's like, people grabbed onto it, That's just like, most basketball coaches, they played basketball before, you know what I'm saying? Most football coaches played football before. You ain't gonna be able to have a clothing line if you've never really dressed before. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, but to be successful and for people to really, listen to you, or appreciate what you bringing out, they gotta have before say, okay, I like what he got on. You know what I'm saying?
So what you think is, what do you think was your biggest outlet to promote yourself and your clothing? Whether it was social media, flyers, doing hand-to-hand talking to people, what you think?
I think just being popular a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, per se around where I'm from, because it's like, me being a little bit popular, wearing my stuff, I know other people that's popular, they wear it, so it's kind of like, if you put the clothes on somebody that's of relevance or somebody that's used to dressing nice, people gonna look at them like, okay, they wearing that too. So it's kind of like a stamp type thing, and I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, social network, that's the new everything, you know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you don't even gotta have a flyer. Only thing you gotta do is know people and have a social network, and it's, people won't know what's going on. You know what I mean? It's crazy how social media kind of took over everything.
Yeah, I feel you. So I remember, let's get into the awards real quick. You won, what is that? Video Music Awards for Best Clothing Line in the city. You want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah,
Did you know you were going to win, or was it like a real big shot for you to win?
Honestly, and I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you. It wasn't really a big shock to me, you know, because I think a lot of people grind hard. A lot of people got different type of clothes, you know, but it was kind of more like they didn't really go as hard as I went. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got sleepless nights, and I'm pretty sure they got sleepless nights too. But it's more like, you know, my stuff is really what's in right now. It's all waves, and it's like it ain't a cocky situation. It's more like, and I understand, you know, things going waves. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, while my wave is going up, I'ma ride it. You know what I'm saying? So it's more like, you know, you know, I wasn't really shocked. I'm gonna be real. I wasn't really shocked. I kind of figured, you know, I would win. You know, a lot of people, you know, wear my clothes, so all the people that wear my clothes, I'm pretty sure they were gonna get online and vote. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I remember when you got up there and gave your acceptance speech or whatever. You said that how hard you were talking about how hard it is to like get support in this city, particularly this city. What do you think it is about this market, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that just makes it so difficult to shine? Not only in this city, but then outside of the city.
it's so small, you know, and being as though it's so small, a lot of people, you know, are jealous and envious. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, your bigger cities, New York, Philly, where you might not know somebody. You know what I mean? Anybody that's popular, anybody that got a name for themselves, anybody doing something in Harrisburg, you're gonna know them. In bigger cities, you might not know a person. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got Philly, you got, you know, North, you know what I mean? You got West, you know, you got South Philly. There's people in North Philly that might not know somebody in South Philly, you know, or a couple people. You know what I'm saying? So here it's like we closed in one box, you know, and that's another thing that give me, you know, because I be discouraged at times. You know what I mean? I be wanting to stop. I be wanting to not, you know, make clothes no more. But it's kind of like Harrisburg showed me love. You know what I'm saying? You know, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you got some people, you know, they gonna hate. Some people ain't gonna fool with you, and that's cool too. But for the most part, you know, Harrisburg showed me love. So it's kind of like I feel like if I can win in Harrisburg, here in Harrisburg, then, you know, I can win anywhere, kind of.
Yeah. So do you think you're where you want to be right now as far as your level of success?
Hell no. Hell no.
I mean, I'm talking, I don't mean overall, I mean for as much work as you put in. Because you said it's been about like a good 2 hard years, maybe 1.
Yeah.
So do you think you're in a good position for that little bit of time?
I think I'm on the right track. You know what I mean? I think I'm on the right track, but, you know, I'm definitely not going to be happy until, you know, ducks is all over. You know what I'm saying? All over the world, people wearing my clothes. If I can make it that, you know what I'm saying? Make it to that point, but, you know, right now where I'm at, I would say that I'm pretty much proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm proud of myself. You know, going through bumps and lumps and stuff. You know, different type of things happening. You know, but I ain't nowhere near where I really want to be at.
Yeah. So I just met you maybe when was that party? Your commercial release party?
It's probably a good month ago, maybe.
Yeah, so that's the first time I met you, but of course I knew who you were through social media. Now, the question I gotta ask you is, how the hell, and I want the ladies to excuse me, how the hell did you get all these bad bitches to come to this party?
I don't know, man. I don't know. They gonna come where, you know, where the thorough niggas is gonna be at. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like I said, the people I hang with, I run with, they pretty popular, they pretty, you know, relevant in the city. So they know they gonna be there. I definitely ain't doing it myself. You know what I'm saying? I definitely gonna take the credit. I ain't doing it myself.
Okay, so you're not the ladies' man?
Nah.
You're not the cause behind all those bad women?
Nah.
Alright, interview over. Interview over. It's like, nah. But that was really impressive. Especially for a party, because we all know that the more women come, the more men come. So I was definitely impressed with that. I'm like, yo, this dude, he got a good following. He definitely got a lot of women following him.
Mm-hmm.
So, has your pussy rate like really climbed to the top since you've been doing been so successful with the clothing?
I ain't gonna say my pussy rate went to the top, but I definitely been getting anonymous inboxes and you know, people that, you know, maybe shot me down before. It's kind of like, you know, what's up now kind of type.
Yeah.
You know, not in too major, on a lower level, you know, but you know, that's gonna come. You know what I mean? That stuff's gonna come. You gotta know how to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, women come with success. So, we touched a lot on the clothing. Is there anything else you're doing besides clothing?
Every holiday, I try to do something. I try to, Easter, this is the 4th year for that, And it started off the first year, we had about 170 kids come out, which was big. The second year, we had about 300 kids come out, and it just kept getting big. Last year was like 400 kids came out. So, it's a big event. This year also, last year, Halloween was my first year doing the trick-or-treat off the street, so kind of like trying to get the kids to stay, not going door to door, but we're going to bring them all in one spot. We're going to set up doors down there, set up doors where we at, and we're going to have them trick-or-treat down there, and that was a big success. We had, a few hundred kids come down to that, so other than clothes, I try to stay grounded in the community and give back every chance I get because, I'm from here and from this point on, you speaking on, am I happy where I'm at now? From this point on, it kind of just been my city supporting me. You know what I'm saying? My city got me not working no more. You know what I mean? Not me. You know what I'm saying? I know somebody's going to call me, a few people, going to call me and going to want some clothes. You know what I'm saying? Day by day. You feel what I mean? So, it's good. It's good to give back. Because a lot of people, they ask for support. They ask for you to buy a shirt, ask for you to buy a CD, ask you to come to a party, but they ain't giving back nothing. You know what I'm saying? They don't do nothing. The only thing they do is take. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for for your city to know who to really support. You know what I'm saying? Who to really give their support to. Because everybody want it, but what are y'all really giving?
Mm-hmm. You gotta spread the wealth in a sense.
Exactly.
So a lot of your events, especially for the children, you get a lot of news coverage, right?
Yeah. They pretty much all really, get touched by the news. And it don't really be for me. I don't know, it be kind of like the word of mouth. Like, stuff spreads. Chinese people be there. I be tripping like, how is Chinese people coming to, a Mallards event?
Yeah, but it's a lot of corner stores in the hood, so, we support them. They gotta come through and support us. I love my yellow people.
But how are they, but how do they know? That's the thing, like, how do they know to come to a trick-or-treat event or to come to an Easter egg hunt, you know what I mean? Or come, for Christmas, when me and, people that I'm affiliated with rent Santa suits and stuff, so the kids don't gotta go to the mall and pay $20 for a picture with Santa. You come here and you get it for free. You know what I'm saying? You baking cookies. You know what I mean? You doing, ornaments. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do they find out about that stuff? So the event's definitely been good, man. It's been, I've been blessed to have like good turnout at the event.
Yeah, that's what's up. So what can we expect in the future? Not particularly from the brand, from the clothing brand, but from you as an individual. Like, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Hopefully owning some property here in Harrisburg. Hopefully, everything gotta revert back to the clothes. So, hopefully that's really, really popping. The website, doing a lot of units. And definitely still on my events, making them better, And it's like, it's not just me on the events, I might be the face, it might be my name on the events, but I got a strong team of people that behind me that support, and I'll be trying to get, a lot of people that's on the streets and a lot of people that, it's not their lane or might want to play the back row to step up, help out, because it only gets better for the kids, And the events only really came about, and I really want to touch on this because this is like real important. Harrisburg is full of like, it's full of, jealous and envious people, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, everybody, I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people want to get that shine, they want to get that spotlight, you feel what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, when I do the events because they're not that expensive to do, for one. And then for two, it's kind of like, it's a lot of people from our city that could be doing stuff that don't. You know what I mean? And it's like, they see me doing it, and it's kind of like a envious, jealous type of energy that goes back and forth. So it's kind of like they want to outdo you. You know what I'm saying? And that's my whole plan. Outdo me, because when you outdo me, the kids only getting looked out for. You know what I'm saying? And that's my whole plan. If I can do it, and I'm nobody. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm nobody. Especially when I first started doing it, I was fresh out of jail. I was fresh out of jail doing events. You know what I mean? I got out of jail in 2010. I did my first event in 2010. April, you know, the April Easter hunt 2010 was my first event, first Easter egg hunt. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, you know, try to outdo me, do your events, please do it. Because at the end of the day, you know, I'm sitting back, you know, and I'm applauding, and I'm laughing, and I'm feeling good at the same time because the kids are getting looked out for.
Mm-hmm. So like with any success comes negative people and the haters per se. What do you really gotta say to the motherfuckers that's like throwing you shade or motherfuckers running around talking down on you, saying Duane Mallard is an arrogant motherfucker or he think he's better than anybody? What you gotta say to those people right there?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, it happens. You know, I don't even really go out. I don't even really, you know, live a normal 29-year-old lifestyle as far as like in my city like I should, because you know of the hate, the dirty stares, all that. But only thing I say is that, you know, I'm not doing nothing different that nobody else could be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, I'm not rich. You know what I mean? I'm nowhere near rich. So it's like the stuff that I'm doing is just networking, talking to a couple people, getting a couple people to help out, do this. Okay, we do an event. You know what I'm saying? You know, I told you where the logo came from. You know what I'm saying? The logo came from a tattoo artist. You know what I'm saying? Get a logo, put it on some shirts, get people to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but I understand that's gonna come. You know what I mean? That's gonna come, and I've been coming my whole life. I ain't just become popular when I started a clothing line. You know what I mean? I always kind of been, you know, popular, kind of been that dude per se. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, they've been hating.
Oh yeah, they been hating.
Ain't nothing new.
Nah, ain't. The clothing line is it just opened up. You know, it opened up. You know, the hating even more. You know what I mean? Because now you got dudes that don't want their baby's mom wearing it. They don't want their kids. A dude might not even. This just happened to me for Easter. A dude didn't even buy his kid an Easter outfit, but you mad because they got a duck on. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna be mad? That your kid got on my clothes and you ain't buy your kid nothing?
Ain't buy your kid shit. Ain't paying child support. Niggas is hating them.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. But you know, it opened up more. You know, it's more of a sort of a territorial type thing now, as far as like, you know, if you wear it, you fool with Mallard. You know what I'm saying?
So you think the people like the people that got negative things to say, you think they're really hating on Duane Mallard the person, or are they hating on the stuff? You know what I mean? Because some people don't know you. Of course they don't know you. But they heard your name, Duane Mallard. They know about the clothing line. What you think about that? They hating on you, the person, or they hating on just the clothing and the success and the name?
I gotta be real, man. I gotta be real. I gotta be 100% real right now. I've been an asshole. I did some things. I did some, you know, some disloyal things in my past. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So your past always haunts you. You feel what I'm saying? So you know, I did some grimy things in my life. So it's like if I did some things in my life that, you know, that wasn't really cool or people didn't really like, I can't expect them to want to fool with my clothing line now that I got a clothing line. You feel what I'm saying? So I gotta keep it real with myself before I can keep it real with anybody else. You know what I mean? I got to know that, you know. Of course, if you didn't like me before I started clothing line, you probably not gonna like me after clothing line. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't pretty much say, you know, it's hating because of the duck. Pretty much too much. It's just pretty much like, you know, people that ain't fuck with Duane, they ain't gonna fuck with Duane. You know what I mean? And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I got a nice amount of people that do fuck with Duane. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good on that note. But like I said, it's like, it's not, you know, Harrisburg is a starting spot for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm trying to take it way further than just Harrisburg.
I feel you. That's definitely where you're gonna go. What you gotta say to that little boy or little girl watching this video right now talking about, I wanna be like Duane Mallard. I wanna shoot to be in his level of success. What you gotta say to them? Because I mean, I heard you mention earlier about your team. Like, a lot of people think that they can do something by themselves. I was one of those people until I got to a certain level of success, and I realized, like, I really ain't shit without my team. So what you gotta say to that kid who wants to aspire to be like in your level in your level of success?
You just really gotta listen, watch, and learn. Like that's the main thing. I'm a real big thinker. You know what I mean? And it's like you gotta think before you act. You know what I mean? Like I said in school, I was if you had to classify me, I was like the worst student. I didn't go to school to learn. You know what I mean? I went to school for the girls. I went to school to shoot dice. You know what I mean? I went to school to play cards and gamble. I went to school for all the wrong reasons. And in my life, if I could take back anything, like anything, if I could take back, you know what I mean? Bad as I might want to say, having kids, I'm gonna keep the kids. It'd be that I played around in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like I really played around in high school. And it sent me to jail, you know what I mean? And jail ain't always a bad thing, because you got a lot of people that go to jail, they wake up, they come home, and they do great. You know what I'm saying? You know, jail is kind of just like it kind of gives you a fresh new life in a sense. In society, you know, because you got a felony on your record or something like that. But you know, even with a felony, you know what I mean? I got two. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still doing me. You know, you just gotta find a different avenue. But I would just say, just listen, watch, and learn. You know what I mean? You know, listen to people that's telling you good. You know what I mean? You always know people that's telling you some good stuff to people that's telling you some bad stuff. You know what I mean? Watch from people's mistakes. You know what I mean? You know, watch from people bumping their heads. You know what I mean? People going to jail. People, you know, just overall, you know, not living life right. Learn from it. You know, learn from it all. And that's what I would say to any little boy or girl trying to make it. Because I mean, it's not, you know, as much as you put in, that's what you're gonna get out. You know what I'm saying? If you grind hard, you know, you got sleepless nights, you're gonna get good results out of it.
So what do you want to after it's all said and done? I mean, we all know we're going to the same place. That's in the ground, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So what do you want your legacy to be after it's all said and done? What do you want the people to say about Duane Mallard?
I just want them to say that, you know, I was ambitious. I was ambitious. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a lot of ambition. You know, I'm one person that's just not going to stay in one spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know, I'm not, and I'm not going to be down. I've been down plenty of times. I'm not going to be down. But honestly, you know, whether or not, you know, people believe it or not, you know, it's all to keep getting passed on. It's all, you know, it's all really for my kids. My fun times is almost up. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of fun in my life. You know, I done been to mostly every popping club all over. You know what I mean? All over. You know.
You talking like you got one foot in the ground though?
Nah, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that, you know, my time. You know, I done had my fun in my time, and you know, it's all about getting passed on. You know what I mean? It's all about keeping it going, keeping the legacy going. You know what I mean? Just like a Jordan brand, you know what I'm saying? The Jordan brand gonna forever live, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I want the Duck to be. I just wanted to be, you know, keep getting passed on little kids, because it grabs little kids' attention. You know what I mean? A lot of older people, you know, they don't really, you know, especially guys, they don't really fool with it too much. They be like, oh, you know, I heard you should make one with, you know, with stoned eyes like he's high, and one, you know, with a bandana over his face. You know what I'm saying? I heard a lot of stuff what I should do because it's not appealing. Even, you know, the rapper, you know, Lil Snoop, he had some, you know, he had a jacket and some stuff, and it's kind of like, you know, I try to get it to Meek, and Meek was more like, I heard that Meek was more like, you know, it's kind of kiddish, it's kind of, you know what I mean, you know, and that kind of struck me a little bit, not too hard, but it kind of struck me, but I just feel as though, like, as long as it is appealing to the youth, it's gonna always live, you know what I mean, as long as little kids, they gonna grow up on it, you know what I mean, they gonna grow up wanting it. So, you know, I don't really worry about the older people or worry about, you know, what they want too much. You know, as long as people still waiting in line for sneakers and I can switch the colors up and make them match, you know what I mean, 100% to the sneakers, it's going to always be a place for it.
Yeah, the youth pretty much drives the future anyway.
Exactly, you know.
So what would you say has been the biggest high point in your career so far, and what is the lowest low point that you've experienced? Not in your whole life, but I'm talking about as far as like... As
far as the clothing?
Yeah, as far as the clothing.
I mean, the highest point, honestly, is I would say kind of like two things, because I got the same type of feeling inside. The highest point is more like going on Instagram and seeing people really like in the club with your stuff on. and I'm not even in the club. You know what I mean? I'm not even there. So just to scroll down on Instagram and to see, you know what I mean, a couple people out feeling good, having fun with your clothes on, that's a crazy feeling. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Especially like I said, you know, at the awards, trying to, you know what I mean, getting, you know, creating the image, sticking behind it, pushing it, and getting people to really spend their hard-earned money and buy it. Like that was kind of like, that's kind of like crazy to me. Anytime I see somebody or somebody tell me somebody had a Mallards Apparel shirt on, it's touching to me, because it's kind of like you can only get a shirt or anything from me. I mean, I'm hands-on. It ain't like I put it in the stores, and I do that because I want to keep my brand exclusive. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really get to the point where I started, you know, branching off in the stores. I started, you know what I mean, giving a couple people these shirts, you sell them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like all exclusive, because if you see anybody, you know what I'm saying, anybody with a Mallards Apparel shirt on, I had to make it, or I had to give it to them. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't get it from nobody else but me.
Well, since we're sitting here, I'm still waiting for my free shit.
Nah, I got you, man. I got you, man. I got you. You gotta let me know the colors, and I got you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We definitely gonna do some work, but let's touch on the lowest point.
Lowest point, the lowest point is just really like, it's not really a point that I've touched yet, unless you want to say at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? At the beginning, when I first really started, you know what I mean, doing the clothes. But a lowest point is a thought. It's a thought that I'll be having in my head, and it's more like a thought of, what if don't nobody fuck with me? You know what I'm saying? What if something tarnish my brand and nobody's buying clothes no more? You know what I'm saying? What happens when the wave, you know what I mean, goes down? You know what I mean? Because you see, you know, you got Rockaware, real big, you know. I'm not saying that I'm on their levels, but I'm just saying, you know, clothing wise, it's more like Rockaware, you know, fail. You know, you got the Nietzsche that was hot for a while, fail. You know what I'm saying? A lot of different clothing lines, you know, they had their high points, and it's like, you know, now they shit's engaged. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Still selling though, so I guess that's a win. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just, what, you know, when it's up here and it's selling, you accumulate way more bills and way more stuff for yourself. So when you engage, you're not selling doing the numbers you're doing engaged that you was doing, and this stuff was, you know, in every department store. You know what I'm saying? That sold clothing, every urban store. So, you know, that thought is like a low point to me. You know what I mean? That thought of, you know, what am I going to do when the wave stops? And I think that's what drives me the most, to try to stay relevant.
Yeah, you got to ride that wave and make sure you stay up there. And, you know what I mean, take it for what it's worth.
Exactly.
We all know everything that goes up must come down. So let me ask you, outside of clothing, I'm talking about overall as the person, the man, Duane Mallard, what is your biggest fear?
Losing the people that's close to me. That's my biggest fear. I never really had, you know, I had Mikey that was real close to me. Mikey and Mallard, RIP. You know what I mean? But I had him go. But that's my biggest fear. Losing my mom, best friend, brother, a kid. You know what I'm saying? Losing somebody like that. That's one of my worst. Duane Mallard, you know what I mean? Mallards Apparel clothing line. You tuned in to Talk of the Streets. DJ Kuwsh, my man.